Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another MMJ Let's Play of Tiny Bunny. When we left off, I was debating whether I should make a bad decision, and there's your answer. We're sneaking out of the house while Mom's trying to fix the TV. I opened the front gate and went into the field, carefully, so Mom couldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olia. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olia turned to stone, listening to them. But then, always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became a numb couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olia present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day, it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke up and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with cold, dead eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything? And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered in the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into ice. Oh! Dry prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in the snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. Which is a Russian mystery TV series telling the story of the daily life of Russian police officers. It's the longest running series in the history of Russian TV at the moment, so it's still going. Huh. He was always so anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this Milton help him find the lost boy? Vova! I heard a distant shout, like it sounded like it came from the river. Vova! It was as if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova resounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still. Something was unsettling about that figure. Can I see it? Is it actually out there? In its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, it's just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped his wings loudly. Oh! A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I guess I didn't see it! I looked away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So, it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. Hello? Anyone? Anything? Oh, don't you jump scare me again. My muscles were tightly sprung. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. Oh, I'd be sprinting already. I looked at the mitten once more. Oh no! Well, I've already made one bad decision, so I guess I'll take it. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Vava! What? A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped towards the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled harder and the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing on my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without knowing and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny spring between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Oh no! I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. The snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably of reason. It gave me strength and spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the cold had come back. Come to form a hungry pack of beasts. Oh my god, this music, rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in the freezing air. They sensed fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from the twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. I felt like I was inside of a nightmare, the snowy clearing becoming viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking in deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was the snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing that this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump, and from there, I ran to my house. Woo-wee! Its gloomy facade didn't look so threatening now. That house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave away. Are they alive though? I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it in place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed into me at waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it, the last bit of strength I had left in my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. My mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. "Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you too?" I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel and her voice rang out. "Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret?" There was someone chasing me. I thought..." I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant and she covered her mouth with her hand. "Look, over there, at the fence." My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I'd heard something scratch at the door just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs! Just a small pack of stray dogs, with no name and owner, barely reminding me of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was the first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive. Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course! The dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mom. Mom, look, this is Vova's mitten. That boy the police were asking about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look. Ew. A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto Mom's contorted face, as if she were trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away. Stop it this moment. Olya will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this. At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, who cried Wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Come take your pills. A golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell onto my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See? You can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom. I was just thinking. About what, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the police asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared in the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. What did she give you? The melody from Aladdin could be heard on the upper floor. Olya was rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. I went upstairs. Jafar and Iago's voices died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. One of the drawers was empty. I had the mitten there. Oh, I got an achievement. The simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. Oh, and only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped the sheets. Whether it was due to the medication or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The room's corners bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, like a savant of sorts. Olya? Who else would have been standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olya, so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains. Badum, badum, beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Oh god. Gotcha! Oh, I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and the sunlight poured onto her smiling face. It felt like I was holding a child woven from light. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, You stole something and hid it there? Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure, standing behind the black trees. Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone and I'll show you. Olya wore a plodding smile. I swear on Mom's heart. I know she heard from one of the movies of the pioneers we watched, which is... Pioneer Movement, an umbrella term for communist children organizations existing around the world, somewhat reminiscent of the Scout movement. Okay? Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it and got lost himself. Now do you understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander in the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photos to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going into the houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they actually check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later for me? I changed the topic. It was as if trying to get Ola as far away from possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if I go and find this boy by myself. A lot of stuff, like in Field of Wonders. Sounds cool, right? What do you gotta say about Field of Wonders? Soviet and Russian TV game show still running to this day, coming out every Friday, can be partially described as an adapted version of Wheel of Fortune. Oh, okay. Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense. An owl wouldn't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with the utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... How should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like in a fairy tale? No, not like that. More like that spooky tape Mom and Dad are hiding from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance to the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? No, it's just... I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom wouldn't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in the tower. I can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me in your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I would wish for on my next birthday? I'd wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children so we could go play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you make them as small as bugs, we could place them into a little box. Olya giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tony, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired, I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring and alone, and Mom's always busy. We can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. Let's go, let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know. Let's play hide and seek. No, Olya. Then draw me a dino. Olya, please. Draw it, draw it. Will you leave me alone already? I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken back. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olya from crying. All right, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops. Well, close enough. Olya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. All right, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Want to bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Go look for it. Olya disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. I guess we'll just turn... Oh, they have rescue rangers? That's awesome. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the left panel. The tube warmed up, a familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was the dark taiga forest. Just like the one outside my window, the picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery again was overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently, I used to always watch Robotech before school. So awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. What if I catch this channel again? On the other hand, Oli had asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. What should we do? I don't want to disappoint my little sister. She's already gone through so much. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. She has Predator? I got the black rectangle from its box. Okay, I got an achievement. The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head, and me and Olya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, bearing its bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us and Olya. You haven't started it without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. Aw, I rubbed my eyes. No, come, sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through some rough times. Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Oldie was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too. Yeah, right. I'll have my own dog in Neverland, and a cat and a parrot. Olya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all of your baby teeth? Obviously. Olya frowned, deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let us go to his land with his adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. And why would Dad forge documents? Olya took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with a mouthful. He will. He heard Mom that he did not before. You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olya got worried and touched her ear, and I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinker Bell, and James Hook, as if she got sucked into the fairy tale of Neverland. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where no one ever ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. Tony, shut the curtains, fast! Why? No one's watching you. It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. Alright, let's do it. I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward Taiga Forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of the branches scraping the snow. Tony, Mom thinks I made the owl up, and Dad does too, thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists. Honestly, it does. You do believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Olya's hand and looked into her eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yeah, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. It doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed, like it's made up, just like mom and dad say. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. I hope so. I hope our sister doesn't go missing. It was madness, but after everything that's happened recently, I was more and more inclined to believe Olya's owl existed. You okay, sis? We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from Crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on the gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olya's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olya's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field, when Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed and you should sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? No, Mom. Adults think everything's so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just a part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. Oh, that's it? Thank you for completing episode 1 of Tiny Bunny. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, I did actually. We're already working hard on the continuation of the story. I was like, are we going to go to school? But I guess not. So that's it. Okay, I'm going to leave this episode here because I feel like that was good. I know, oh, I don't remember the one behind the bunny. I know that there's other things that you can do. Like we could have not gone to the forest. We could have played with the TV antenna and stuff. But I figured I wanted to keep my sister safe. So that's what I decided to do. But yeah, that was an awesome episode 1. I'm really curious to see what they do next. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next MAMJ. Let's go.